Rip it up.
Live on YouTube. YouTube.
This way, just slightly. Dude, have you seen on Spotify? Have you seen that you can like some of the podcasts on there? They just straight up have the video on Spotify now.
Yeah, like every Joe Rogan podcast has the full video.
The full video. Yeah, I didn't really notice because most of the time I put them on and then I just close out and then listen to it. You know.
Yeah.
I was like watching Joey Diaz the other day and Joey Diaz was on it. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
I was like, that's cool.
Yeah, until we have the means to run a full dual camera HD lighting microphone hookup podcast set.
You definitely want a good setup.
Because Joe Rogan's is fucking just got that neon sign behind him. I'm in a closet with the fucking fan foam Padres, fucking blue Padres with the brown hat. Disgusting.
You can see my bed frame in the background.
I kind of love it though. You know what I mean? Like we're just grinding.
A lot of guys have fucking they're like successful podcasts and they're like in like some shitty little office and shit.
Yeah.
I see them all the time. But that's the beauty of a podcast. You're just creating content, putting it out there.
That's how those John Boy guys were before they just got like a brand new office in Midtown Manhattan. The John Boy Media guys. Yeah. They just got a brand new office in like Midtown Manhattan, but they were in New York before that. In this, it looked like a fucking 1-bedroom studio, and like it looked like a 1-bedroom apartment, and they used one of the bedrooms for like the podcasting room, and then the living room they set up like 3 TVs on the wall and a couch, and they would do content from there too. And like it was like their whole office. It's just crammed into this little thing, and now they have a fucking 25 office space, fucking meeting room, entire floor of a Midtown Manhattan building. So hopefully that's us in a year, you know? We just have just the penthouse of the fucking just Coors Field.
Caesar Palace.
Caesar's Palace. All right. All right. I'm going to
So what's our main emphasis that we're trying to meeting?
I put in the topics today. We're going to chat about how the NBL Jesus NFL is fucking rigged because Calvin Ridley was betting on himself. Von Miller maybe coming back to Denver. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, we'll wait.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I don't want to start. We always do that. We start talking about it, and then we start firing away. It's like just save it for when we're talking about it.
And then we'll go over that. We'll go over the MLB lockout stuff that they've agreed upon so far. The bigger bases, like some of the playoffs, pitch clock, universal DH, banning the shift. We'll save it for the pod, and then if we get to it, we'll talk about the AL East stadiums and how they're all wiffle ball fields and nobody talks about it. So there we go.
Yeah, I like it.
All right, let me pull this down.
Dude, I actually hate wearing my Apple Watch if I'm like sometimes like if I go to work out, I love it, but then like it's always on so damn tight because I want to because I have bracelets on that hand.
It can't be loose, yeah.
If it slides over the bracelet and loses contact with the skin, it like locks it and stops. It pauses the workout. So I'm like I strap it on there all tight.
All right, let's go live here. Or we're live on YouTube. Let me all right, start this thing off. Ladies and gentlemen, boys, girls, old and young, we are back for, you guessed it, another episode of the Phenomenal Fan Podcast with Jared and Ryan. Jared, we got a few things to cover today. Some news in the world. Sure. Yeah, some news in the world of National Football League in March.
That's some pretty interesting news. I
We got
wonder
some
what that's about.
yeah.
What's that about, Ryan?
We got some interesting news on behalf of the NFL. We've got some like less exciting news in the world of Major League Baseball. And that's about it for the most part. We're right in that slot of that sports calendar, especially now with baseball not going on, where we are right before March Madness, but you can taste it. So at least there's that. At least there's something in that aspect to look forward to, because we love March Madness. We love the conference tournaments that are coming up this weekend, and obviously the tournament the following weekend. Probably going to be giving some of our, I don't know, our bracket picks, Jared. Maybe, maybe not. Who knows?
It's maybe yeah, later this week, maybe. Yeah, it's or next week. What's definitely just some bracket picks next week.
Yeah, because we put out on Monday. We put out an episode. We record on Mondays, so the bracket will be set this time next week. So we will put out
I have a busy day Monday because of that.
Because of all the parlays.
Because it's like a no because obviously there's making your bracket, but then for work, part of what I do is inputting all of those games into the different format and data feeds that we need.
It's a lot of games.
So it's a lot of games, and it's also not set in stone. It's a constantly changing.
Correct.
Like, it's like a playoff. I mean, how is it? 64 teams, right?
Well, technically 68 with the 2 play-in game or the 4 play-in games. So
yeah, so it's like you have all exactly. You have all of that. It's constantly changing. It's not set in stone. It's not dynamic. So my next couple of weeks will be. I'll have some nice busy mornings of just getting everything input constantly. So that's gonna be can't wait for that.
Yeah, but it's still. I mean, we're both in the industry. It's a busy time of year, but it's the same that goes for, I feel like, for a lot of industries where, if you're in sales and you're trying to hit your quota by the end of the year, December could be that month where you're like, oh God, I got to get all these sales in. Or if you're a cop and you're trying to meet your quota for tickets given out for the month, the last two days of the month.
I think that guy didn't put a blinker on. I'm gonna pull him over.
Yeah, 65. Well, he was going 66.
Speaking of police and getting in trouble,
rule violations?
Let's talk about rule violations and Mr. Calvin Ridley.
Calvin Ridley.
Calvin Ridley, that motherfucker.
So, if we didn't already talk about it in the podcast and mention it, again, we don't exaggerate on this podcast 1,000 times. 1,216 times. The NFL is fucking rigged. And if you're telling me it's not, you're in on it. That's a bottom line. Yeah. You are a part of the system, because Calvin Ridley is betting on football games. But I wasn't playing. I only bet 1,500. I didn't even watch football. I don't care. It's against the rules, Calvin. You can't do it. And even more so, the only reason you're this giant public figure right now is because the NFL doesn't want people to know that it's fucking rigged. That's the only way to describe it.
Rigged.
That's the only way.
They're trying to scapegoat Calvin Ridley, but he's not the only motherfucker on it. You know that there's plenty of these, especially check this one out here. I'm a practice squad guy, and I'm watching Derek Gore for the Kansas City Chiefs get fucking carries all week in practice. Nobody has Derek Gore, but guess who's gonna know what the game plan is? My fucking buddies, the people that I know. Hey, why don't you go ahead and throw a Derek Gore first touchdown score on there, because that's the game plan all week.
Gore? Thursday Night Football. Derek Gore? Are you kidding me?
Why not first? Yeah, why not first? He's probably not even on the fucking list.
Derek
Gore,
he's
down there so far. You
no,
can never
Jared. It's gonna be Travis Kelce. Tyreek
Hill, right?
Jarek McKinnon. Those guys are going to score a touchdown. Whoa, hold on. The Rams and the Bucks are in the playoffs? Rams, Bucks. It's going to be Cooper Kupp. It has to be Cooper Kupp. OBJ, Tyler Higbee, Gronk.
Mike Evans?
That's a great pick. Mike Evans, Leonard Fournette, any of those guys.
Who was it for them this year?
Kendall Blanton scored the first touchdown in that game.
Fuck out of here, dude. Get the fuck out of here. That shit. Dude, I just refuse. I refuse to believe that there's not sort of dude. All the partnerships.
Oh my god!
Brought to you by left and right. You see a Caesars commercial every 2 fucking seconds. DraftKings, FanDuel, these big time sports books, you see the commercial every 2 seconds. You're telling me that these guys that created all these business relationships don't have a little bit to say behind the scenes?
So here's what happened. We brushed over it pretty much because we assumed everybody's seen it by now. Calvin Ridley, who was inactive for like most of this year, right? He missed like 8 games or 9 games or maybe more. I remember because I think I had him in.
There's like a mental health thing.
Yeah, I don't know exactly. I think he had a family issue or something like that too. Some sort of off the field distraction, something that had him stepping away from football. And then he didn't end up playing the entire. I stepped away like week 4 or something, and he didn't end up playing the rest of the year. And sounds like he was down in Florida, and when sports gambling was legalized in Florida for like a really short time, he was down there and he placed some wagers on the NFL. Sound the alarm, Jared. Sound the alarm, because you can't do that. And I don't care.
You can't.
You can't do it.
No, you certainly can't. Not if you're participating in the fucking league. It's just such a conflict of interest. And you just can't do it.
And here's my thing about the betting on the sports, right? You have Pete Rose, notable sports gambler guy, got in trouble for betting. Turns out he bet on his own team. In this case, apparently Calvin Ridley had a couple parlays going. He bet on his own team to win in those parlays, it's great, man. Like, okay, I guess if there's a silver lining, it's that he bet on his own team to win the games. And maybe Pete Rose is a different story because he was back when these guys were doing cocaine in the locker room and nobody said anything. But the bottom line is they tell you not to do it. They probably didn't say it as much to Pete Rose as they say to athletes today. But Calvin Ridley, talk to any professional athlete, any of them. And we've talked to a couple on this show. We've talked to more outside of this show. And I've asked a couple guys about sports gambling. I was working an event not too long ago, Jared, and Rockies legend Vinny Castilla was at the event. And I work for a sports gambling company. He was there, more of a celebrity public appearance type thing. And we asked him something, not even sports gambling related. We were just saying, it was like, who would you bet on to win the World Series this year? And the first words out of his mouth were, well, I'm still an employee with the Rockies. I legally cannot talk about sports gambling. That was it. We're like, okay, we'll stay away from it. So they know you can't bet. Calvin Ridley said, fuck everybody else. Fuck the NFL. I'm not playing. Put on a couple parlays. Why not? $1,500. I'll just throw on a couple. Let's throw on a couple bucks. It's nothing.
And what the fuck are you? What are you doing betting $1,500? Like
at least put down like 50 G's, something like respectable.
Yeah, and you just think it's like what, like wasn't his contract going to be like $11 million next season or something?
Oh yeah. No,
what the fuck are you doing? $1,500, risking your career over $1,500
for him, especially.
His whole reputation's fucking crushed. Oh, I mean, like, I don't know how you recover from that. Like, how, like, with the standard that was held against Pete Rose, not even getting in the Hall of Fame, the all-time hits leader. How does a fucking receiver that's currently in the league, in the new environment, not get the long arm of the law to slam down on him as the first guy that like, cause it's like, this is kind of the first one since it really has become legal, like across the United States.
Correct.
Like for a lot of areas, this is the first like case that we've seen of it. So how did they not make it a fucking example out of him? So
of course.
That's what I'm worried about for Calvin Ridley is like, yeah, you did some dumb shit, but I don't think you're going to get any forgiveness on this because they have to let every athlete know.
Oh yeah,
that like this, we're not fucking around, right?
He is going to get he's already been hammered. He's got a full year suspension. It may be extended. He has the chance to appeal, blah, blah, blah. And then he has the wise idea to go on Twitter and just start defending himself, talking about, I'm just going to come back stronger. I only bet 1,500 total. I bet on them to win, blah, blah, blah. I loved his tweet, his quote that he said, I bet 1,500 total. I don't have a gambling problem. So he's addressing that he doesn't have a gambling problem. Actually, Calvin, you do have a gambling problem, and it's called gambling on the NFL while you're in it. That's a gambling problem. So guess what, buddy? You're done.
Problem on your hands.
That's
right on your hands.
It's a huge problem. you're an idiot. I just don't like, what are you thinking? I don't understand. And it's so easy to track. It's so easy to see. We are in 2022. If anybody placed, if a second cousin of an NFL player, I mean, it's just so easy to track this stuff. I don't understand why he just straight up put a bet down. He put down multiple bets. Like, what?
There was, oh my God. There was, I saw a tweet the other day that cracked me up. I almost want to go find it. I'll probably look into it after this and maybe like get it to you. But it was like, it was like a basket. It was like some guy in the NBA, or it might have been the NFL, that just had a fucking terrible stat line. And said, or like he might have just like absolutely missed a layup or something. It was something like that. There's something that shouldn't have happened in sports.
Sure.
And then some guy just quoted the tweet, of like it happening. Said, check his grandpa's FanDuel.
Seriously,
like,
no, seriously.
That's fine. That shit cracked me up though. But yeah, no, seriously, it's like who's involved in this shit? Like, man, it's how do you even if you're gonna bet, if I'm in the NFL and I want to bet and I do know some inside information, I don't know how he placed those wagers, but like, yo, give the money to your buddy or like somebody and say, hey, fucking throw this down on me. I'll give you a little cut or whatever. You can't just walk in as Calvin Ridley and place a bet. And I don't know exactly like how it happened. Like how did it happen?
He registered online, and then it was reported by every sportsbook has a regulatory part of their company, and then they have to verify your identity. Like you have to submit, I think in most cases, either a picture of your driver's license or your social security or the last 4 of your social security. So he punches in. Yeah, I'm sure he probably gave him fucking. They probably like, please describe your state of income or how you gain income, and he's like, I'm an NFL player. Like, I mean, literally, he might as well, because he had to give enough personal information for them to flag his account and say, is this the same Calvin Ridley that is on the Atlanta Falcons currently? Same guy? Yeah, we're gonna need to report this because this is not within the rules of the NFL. So
you can't do that. You can't do that, Ryan.
No, you can't.
You can't do that. No, I mean, I do think he's fucked, dude. I don't see any way that they're gonna call it a 1-year suspension. But man, dude, it's a black eye like for the league if they don't fuck him up more. Because you have to, like, you can't just allow that back in. It just makes you look bad as the league to be like, well, we kind of allow it. Like, well, if you gamble, you're out for 1 year because you could be costing God knows how many people money, like that are, say, if they have the opposite side of a bet by rigging it. Plus, you just really are making people that are paying attention question the integrity of every single game and the product that you're putting out there. And you and I already question it, but I'm just saying, you make every single person that sees that article go, fuck, man, how many guys are doing it?
Well, and guess what, Jared? This Calvin Ridley gambling on game situation isn't the first league integrity issue to come out in the last 2 months. The Miami Dolphins owner was offering Brian Flores $100,000 per loss. He was offering the head coach of his team money to lose games. Is that going to stop people from watching the NFL? Of course not. People are going to watch the NFL. They're always going to watch the NFL forever because the NFL is probably the best product available in the world, in my opinion. It's the most entertaining. It's the most exciting. Every game holds probably the more weight than any other league because it's 17 games. But the league integrity of the NFL is not looking good right now, and it won't look good for a while.
Dude, it's like we're just talking about how we hate the officials, how the officials played such a role in the Super Bowl and in every game really. You have the whole Tim Donahue thing that nobody really talks about with the NBA. I just think this shit's so much more relevant. I think it's happening.
It's happening at a level, at a level that we don't maybe quite understand. And yes, we're conspiracy guys when we talk about, oh, of course it's rigged. It's probably not, but you're more inclined to believe that it is when owners are paying their coaches $100,000 a game to lose, and Calvin Ridley's gambling on sports. And to be honest with you,
maybe not rigged, but maybe altered.
Yeah, slightly changed. Maybe the outcome
altered. How come the spreads? I think the spreads and the over-unders make more sense, right?
Absolutely.
If we're, I mean, because you don't have to really necessarily, like, you don't necessarily have to choose the outcome of the game in terms of win or loss to rig a game, but to call a pass interference call that was wishy-washy across the middle to an extended drive to give somebody a field goal opportunity to bust the spread, that's a fucking thing.
Easy to do. Super easy to do.
Dude, easy for, but like every play, defensive holding or illegal, illegal contact.
There's offensive holding every play. Every play there's offensive holding. They can pick and choose which play they want to kill a drive on. 3rd and 10, down the sideline, toe drag, sideline catch, first down. Flag on the play. Holding, offense, number 75. Drives over. It's 3rd and 20. It's over.
Yeah, you're fucked. Yep, and and they do that shit with the NBA is the worst. Oh. I always said that like free throws. Free throws are God, it's hiding in plain sight to the average fan. You can just hide. Oh, what's that called? Dude, I've seen like straight up just blocks. There was one, Kristaps Porzingis yesterday. Absolutely just hacked somebody going to the rim and didn't get a call. And then there was a game I watched on Sunday. Did you see Jason Tatum had that phenomenal game against the Nets?
51?
54 points. So Porzingis hacks this guy's fucking wrist off. It fell off, and I don't exaggerate. I never will. It fell off and flew into the stands. That's how hard he hit his hand.
He lost his hand.
Lost his hand, and then there's no call. And Jason Tatum is following a guy on there's like a steal or something, following the guy to the rim, and the guy goes up to dunk it, and Tatum kind of like brushes his back with his hand. Didn't push him or anything. Just kind of touched him real quick. This whistle.
Yeah, it's a foul. Instant whistle. What do you mean, Jared? It's an obvious foul.
I'm like, dude, what? Like, can we have some sort of I get it. Like, it would really fuck up the games to review every call. But why can't there just be why can't there be like a New York? I don't know.
Yeah.
They're all on it together. Why can't New York just be like, it's not a fucking foul?
Yeah, they have the challenges, I guess, in the NBA. I guess in the NFL.
There's one.
Yeah, it's stupid.
I don't know.
So
it's horseshit.
So anyway, Calvin Ridley gambled.
Rigged. Calvin Ridley's a cheater. The whole NFL is rigged. Everyone's gambling on it. Everyone's making more money off of it. Probably not everyone, obviously, but
some people.
There's players, 100% players, and the guys. I couldn't even imagine being a guy that was like, fuck, man, I got signed off the practice squad. And I gotta see this gameplay. I might never make more than $1 million in this league. I'm fucking gonna cash out while I have some insider information.
I'm not gonna place the bet, but my uncle's best friend is gonna place the bet. He'll take $100,000 down to BetMGM down on the strip.
Yeah,
he'll put it down on Derek Gore over rushing yards. Are you kidding me? What's his rushing yards set at? 22.5. That's funny. He got
13 carries.
He got every single handoff and ran every single snap with the first team this week in practice. So,
but nobody knows him though, because he's got to score in the NFL.
Yeah.
So nobody knows him. But
I'm on the Dolphins scout defense, and I saw Duke Johnson get signed off waivers, and he got thrown in on every first team rep this week. Created
that special play. We created that special play where he's the guy.
Yeah, Duke Johnson 2+ TDs at plus 1,400. Easy money. I'll put $5,000 on that. Easy.
$5,000. Yeah, here's the one thing that I do have to say though, is like, I think anytime that you place a bet over like X amount of money, the books have to actually they review it. So it's not like it. So there is, but like, I wonder like if you were to go into a casino and put a bet down, I wonder like at what limit the fucking pit boss guy has to come. Or I don't know whoever the pit boss of the sports book is has to come out, with a fucking blip, blip.
Yeah, a little.
And then he nods his head.
Yeah.
Blip, 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 blip.
Yeah, he's good.
And then you take the $10,000. Yeah, he's good.
Yeah.
But like, I wonder at what level, because that is the one thing I will say on the people believe that you could just go in and make fucking a bajillion dollars, and if you were the best, if you knew if you had the almanac from fucking
Yeah,
was it
Back
Back
to
to
the
the
Future.
Future?
Yeah.
And the future that you could hammer it, fuck that. They would kick you off the books so fast.
Yeah.
If you were on DraftKings and you just hit $5,000, $10,000 bets in a row, they'd probably just fucking you'd probably go to log in and you just see fucking two of these on the screen. It
Yeah,
says, no,
flipping you off.
no. We want the losers.
Well, that's how
We
it
want the
goes in casinos,
Jareds
right?
and the Ryans.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. They want the Jareds and the Ryans to lose money, but that's how it is in the casino too, right? The guys go in and they play blackjack and they just start just taking money from the casino. Dana White, dude, Dana White's been kicked out of like 10 different casinos on the Vegas Strip because he goes in with $100,000 to the high roller blackjack table and walks out of there with 1.3 million. And they're like, you are never coming back here again. Fuck that.
I always picture that scene from Casino, and he fucking Robert De Niro takes him in the back and smashes his fucking knuckles. He's like, we don't fuck around like that around here. You tell your friends.
Yeah, no, it's. Yeah. I mean, who knows what happens in the NFL? But hey, that's the dark side. But
yeah,
on the good side, on the good side, another topic we want to get into on the NFL, as Broncos fans, biasly, but more so. It revolves around the NFL because the Rams just won the Super Bowl and arguably may not have been in that situation had they not acquired Von Miller from the Denver Broncos. Even when Von Miller got traded to the Rams, he was very open about how much he loved Denver, how much he loved the fan base for the Broncos, Broncos country, 5280, this and that. And he sent out a tweet today that said, I kind of want that old thing back, ... 5280.
5280.
So, Jared, I don't know where I would stand with that. Even as an outsider, somebody just watching the NFL, I'm sure it, of course, is in most cases, it depends on the money. But if Von Miller comes back on a team-friendly contract, 2-year deal, 3-year deal for $10 million a year, I would do it. If I was the
Well, it's Von, he's just kind of the he's just a Denver, he's kind of like.
I mean, he's a Ring of Fame guy.
A Denver legend. Yeah, he's just a Ring of Fame, just a Denver legend guy. It's like, I think everyone wants him back. It's probably good. It's good for the product. And he's still a fucking good player. He just hadn't, it's tough. It's tough when the team's that shitty and the defense has been on the field. It's like people don't understand that shit. They're like, oh, well, Von Miller's not doing this and Von Miller's not doing that when he was with us. It's like, it's getting double teamed.
Correct.
It's getting double teamed by two linemen every play. He's getting chipped. And then on top of that, he's on the field. He's on the field for 40 minutes a game,
at least.
Because our offense goes three and out.
Because Teddy Bridgewater's just floating ducks all around the field. So let me just toss this out there, and this is all we can touch on with Von Miller. But I don't know when free agency or whatever officially starts for the NFL. Let's say free agency starts. Breaking news: Von Miller signs a 2-year contract with the Denver Broncos for $10 million a year. If you're Aaron Rodgers, do you see that? Does that make your decision? Does the meter that's already sort of starting to peter back towards the Packers, does that meter start to peter the other direction and lean towards the Broncos? Because the reports are he's limited, besides the Packers, he's limited his choices of teams down to 3. I can't remember the one, but the other 2 were the Steelers and the Broncos. Von Miller goes back to the Broncos. Does that do anything for Aaron Rodgers, or is it completely unrelated? Is it still because Aaron Rodgers is such a loose cannon? We have no idea what this guy's going to do. This guy may come out next week and say, "I'm retired," after winning an MVP.
Yeah, back to back. I don't know. I don't know if that shifts anything for Aaron Rodgers really, because it's like, I mean, Von, although Von's still effective and still a good player, he's not Super Bowl Von Miller, like,
sure,
perennial defensive player of the year candidate type of guy. He'll still come out and be good, but I don't think that really does a ton. I think maybe, I don't know the cap situation. I think maybe that actually, if we were to sign him to $10 million a year, it might
hurt.
I don't know if we would. I don't know if we would sign Vaughn for $10 million a year at this point, because it's like, I think we're trying to. I saw that the report that we're all in to try to get Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
So and he's going to command some fucking serious cash, obviously. Some back-to-back MVP.
What about
he's going to get paid $45 million a year, probably.
Oh yeah. What about the option though, the other way around, where free agency starts, or it's March 7th right now, May, June, July, sometime in there, Rodgers says, I'm going to the Broncos. Devontae Adams is coming with me. Then do we sign Von Miller? And the Broncos go, we're all in now. Might as well sign Von Miller because we need as much help as we can get. Doesn't matter if we bump up against the cap or even go over it. We got to do whatever it takes now because we have 2 years. We have 2 years of Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams. And now we need a guy like Von Miller. Not that our defense isn't good already. I think it's a complimentary. I think it goes back and forth. I wouldn't mind seeing Von Miller back on the Broncos. Do they need him? No. Does he need to go to Denver? No. But he loves it, and Denver loves Von Miller. So it's interesting. It's interesting to see that he kind of want that old thing back, as he said. He kind of want that old thing back. So who knows? Von Miller may be a Bronco.
I think Von Miller could be a Bronco, and then I don't know. It kind of would feel eerily similar to when we got Peyton, because I know that we've already had Von Miller, but Von Miller technically is not a Bronco, and he's going to be a free agent, right?
Yep, he is a free agent.
So, yeah, he is a free agent. Yeah, so it would almost kind of feel like when we got to Demarcus Ware.
Yeah, elderly.
But we never had. You know what I mean? We never had Von. I imagine we never had Von, and he's just a free agent from another team. It's going to feel like we got Peyton, we got Demarcus Ware, we got Talib, we got all those guys in the offseason. So if we got Devontae Adams, Aaron Rodgers, it kind of would feel like we're gearing up for one of those Super Bowl runs, which feels like the Broncos love doing that.
Love it.
They had Elway as the franchise quarterback, and then ever since then, you waited 15 years to get another, or 16 years to get another Super Bowl. And then you basically rented out Peyton for the last 5 years of his career. And then you wait another 7 years, or whatever it's been. Yeah, 7 years since the Super Bowl. And now you get to rent out Aaron Rodgers, pay him out the ass, because all you're doing is trickling us along for generations at a time, because we're going to have the pride of a Super Bowl to keep us going, to deal with this shitty 7 years. You know what I mean? We deal with the shitty 7 years because we won the Super Bowl. And you're obviously going to be loyal.
Correct.
Right? But it's like, tell me that you've really enjoyed any of the last 7 years. Been fucking terrible.
The Broncos have been not competitive. And granted, it was a pretty big downgrade to go from Peyton Manning to Trevor Siemian, and then Drew Lock, and then Teddy Bridgewater, and then Case Keenum, and then all those guys are just such basically career backups that transforming to Aaron Rodgers may do something for Von Miller, or vice versa. But we'll see. We'll see where Von Miller ends up. It'd be a cool reunion, nevertheless. And moving on from football, it's fun to talk football. We always love talking football. But we also like talking baseball, Jared. And again, it sucks. We thought there's going to be a deal. We really thought. There's not a deal. They didn't reach a deal last week when we talked about it. Now we're stuck. Now there's not only a lockout, but supposedly the word being tossed around is deadlocked, because the players and the owners met yesterday. Representatives from both sides met, I believe it was yesterday. And the players submitted their proposal. They didn't make any compromises. They didn't move on much. And it's frustrating because you want this deal to get done, but we talked to Lucas Gilbert. We've talked to Kent. We want the players to get the best deal. Selfishly, we also want the season to go on. But apparently in these agreements, or in these negotiations, they've come to agreements on a few topics, and we're going to cover those today because they're interesting, and they don't have a whole lot to do with the giant chips that they're actually negotiating as far as the competitive balance tax and league minimum salary and stuff like that. But they have agreed on some smaller details that may end up sticking around and having a bigger impact on the league. So, first initial thoughts on some of these, Jared, and we can just give them all. But the first one that they've apparently agreed upon is making the bases bigger just overall increasing the size of the bases. I am impartial to this. I mean, seems to me like the bases, I've never thought they were too small. But when you start to think about it, you got a guy like Jesus Aguilar playing first base, and a throw comes from the left side of the infield up the line a little bit, and you're a base runner, you got nowhere to go. There is nowhere for you to put your foot on that base. I mean, yes, there is a spot because he's on the front side of the base, but I don't see why you wouldn't make the bases bigger. I guess that's supposed to increase player safety or make guys be safe more often. I don't really know, but I guess they agreed upon bigger bases.
Oh, yeah, that one feels a little like, I don't know. Like, I don't, like, who gives a shit if you want to like bigger bases? Like, you know what I mean? Does it hurt either side? Does it hurt? Does anyone really notice? I get it. Like, you like, I don't know. Either way you look at it, it's like, if you're a base runner, it works better for you. If you're a fielder, it probably is a little bit more comfortable too, to be able to know the guy can slide into the base. Like, yeah, if it fucking makes the game better, I don't know how much bigger they want to make it. And honestly, like, I've seen so many people like get banged up sliding into a bag weird.
I agree.
Yeah, I thought like it, and like it, bases are kind of weird in the sense you use them to like, you use them for a lot of leverage, right? So you use them to turn from, like,
right,
from base to base. You use them to stop yourself on the slide. But that's also why they're dangerous. You know what I mean? So it's like, I've always thought, like, why aren't bases like flat? But then I like thought about it, like, well, you just fucking slide right over every time.
Right.
And like that was something that was in my head. But that's kind of an interesting topic. But yeah, totally indifferent about it. Like, who gives a shit?
Yeah.
If that's the agreement, then light it up.
Yeah, I've always thought too. I've always thought it was interesting, especially being younger, and you see it in softball. I think it's because softball's field is smaller and also tighter, but they have those bases, at least down the first base line, where it's the white base in fair territory and the orange base in foul territory, and it's all connected. It's the same base, but they want it so that the base runner running down the first baseline, because that's the only baseline where the base runner goes through the bag. So
yeah,
at that point, why not just extend the first base bag? Obviously, keep a piece of it in fair territory, but on the other side, just make it bigger. I'm fine with it. Whatever. Like you said, whatever. It is what it is. Not a huge arguing point, but hey, they agreed upon it, so fucking cool. Okay, bigger bases. The next thing that seems to be a bigger arguing chip or negotiation chip from both sides, the players don't want it, the owners do, for obvious reasons for the owners, is expanded playoffs. The owners want more teams in the playoffs because it's more money, as if the owners don't already have enough fucking money to begin with. They want more money by expanding the playoffs. And the owners' proposal, every time for the most part, has listed 14 teams to make the postseason.
This just seems so...
It's a lot of fucking teams, Jared. That's a lot of teams.
Is it because the postseason gets such better ratings? Like what's the reasoning? Why do they want 14
teams? Postseason gets better ratings, and additionally,
is that why?
Yeah, it's that. But I guess they want more teams. I don't know, to be competitive. They don't want teams that were 80 win teams but on the uprise to feel like they were left out. Because in all honesty, I will say, the 2020 shortened season that did not count for anybody and doesn't mean anything and was Mickey Mouse, the playoffs were exciting. The first round of that playoffs, the wild card round with a 3-game series against these two teams that were matched up, I thought that was really exciting. I thought that was a fun concept, and it actually ended up producing some pretty exciting series. I remember specifically the Miami Marlins, who were not expected to be anywhere near the postseason. Granted, it was a 60-game season, and that's why they were in there. They played the Chicago Cubs, and they beat them. They beat them in Chicago. Now, there's no fans, right? So, again, it's a much different story. But the Marlins beat them. So, I'm okay with expanding the playoffs. The current status, as most people know, each league has 3 division winners and 2 wildcard teams, so that's 10 because it's 5 from each league. I would be okay with 12 and maybe having the 3-game series in the first round and the 1s and 2s seeds having a bye or something of that nature in the first round. But 14, and looking back on it, I think we touched on it in the previous podcast, or at least something that I read. If they had expanded it last season to 14 teams, that would have put in the National League, it would have put like the Phillies and like the Brewers or something weird. No, the Brewers were already in the playoffs. It was like the Phillies and some other team. And those two teams that would have made the playoffs in the National League, the Phillies were 82-80 last year. And with the expanded playoffs, they would have made the postseason at 82-80. I don't really like that because that's rewarding a team for being basically 500. And that's how the NBA is. And that's something that I don't love about the NBA because obviously the NBA puts 16 teams in their postseason. And it's fun to watch the playoffs, but end of the day, 3-game series, you put a juggernaut team in up against an 8 or 9 seed or a Phillies team that was 82-80, they're going to get smoked. So I get it for the ratings. I get it for the owners. The players are okay with 12, and I'd be okay with 12. 14 is a lot. Expand the playoffs, sure, but just 12 is just the most. And that's one of the most beautiful things about the MLB is that it is hard to win a World Series. You have to win your division or get in as a wild card team. You got to grind. You got to grind to get there. So expanded playoffs, again, something I think most people are in consensus with. 14, probably too much. 12, kind of too much, but okay with it. And where it's currently at now, I think it should leave it. But 12 is okay. 14 is too much. It is what it is. It sounds like the owners, the owners are saying we'll do
50% of the league, basically.
Yeah, it's 14 teams in the postseason out of the 30 in the league. I mean, that's a lot of fucking teams. The owners are using it as a negotiation piece, saying, "Oh, well, we'll move the competitive balance tax up for the players if we add more teams." So maybe they'll negotiate, maybe they won't. I don't know. The next piece for the lockout, something they agreed upon, supposedly, is a pitch clock. Now, Jared and I both pitched. Granted, nowhere near the level that these guys are at. Pitch clock is an interesting one because, again, I don't know how it's going to be enforced. I don't know what they're going to say. Are they going to, okay, as soon as the ball hits the glove, you have 30 seconds to deliver the pitch again, or you have 15 seconds to get back on the rubber? Because then it starts to get finicky with like, well, what if the guy's injured, or what if he just takes more time? So many different guys have such a different routine. Granted, I don't love guys like Pedro Baez or guys that throw a pitch, get the ball back, take their glove off, rub it up, do a lap around the mound, kick their cleats off with dirt, grab the rosin bag between each, be like, holy shit, throw the ball, right? We all agree, throw the ball. But how they enforce that pitch clock is going to be interesting because I feel like it's going to rush a lot of guys, especially guys like they're struggling. They throw a 4-pitch walk. Oh, fuck, I got to get back on the mound and throw another pitch. 4-pitch walk again. I got to throw. It's another attempt, in my opinion, to speed up the game where I don't feel like it's much of an issue. I don't feel like the pitch clock has ever really been a thing besides a very small handful of guys, like I mentioned, that take forever. But then what if they violate the pitch clock? What is it, a ball? What is it, a balk?
Yeah.
Like, how do you...
And then you're just going to, like, anytime, then you piss the manager off and the players off, and then they fucking argue with you, and the manager comes out, and all the time that you thought you saved on the pitch clock is now wasted on an argument because you enforced it weirdly, or it's like nobody likes the way it's enforced. I don't know. I don't hate a pitch clock if it's a reasonable amount of time, but there's also like you said, there's little shit that can happen, like like when does it start? Does it start as soon as the catcher gets back to the pitcher? The clock goes.
Yeah, I don't know.
What if it's raining?
Right.
What if it's starting to rain and the guy's gotta kick his cleats off?
And then what if what if it turns into a back and forth? Like, okay, well, the pitcher's back on the mound, but the batter's taking forever in the box, or the batter fouls one off his shin, and then the umpire has to make a judgment on whether he's actually hurt or if he needs to get back in the box. It just seems like more shit that the umpires already have to deal with. The umpires have to keep track of the mound visits. They have to do the replays. And we all know how fucking incompetent these MLB umpires are and how they fuck up the calls anyways. Now they have to keep track of a pitch clock and be looking over the pitcher's shoulder to make sure he's in a set position with less than 5 seconds. Like, too much, I think, in some cases. I'm okay with it. They already have clocks in between innings and stuff. It is what it is. Sounds like the players are cool with it, so there must be an agreement on how it's going to be enforced, and they're okay with it. It is what it is. Pitch clock is, again, kind of an impartial thing. I don't love it, but it's not the end of the world if it gets enforced, as long as it just doesn't impact the game in a huge way. And all of a sudden you're talking, oh, pitch clock, and the announcers are like, oh, he's got to throw the pitch, like a play clock in the NFL. You're like, oh God, he's go, get rid of it, and then he balks, or he
I would hate to see it like come down to like you get into the
eighth or ninth
for it to
inning.
like really eighth or ninth inning and it really fucking decides a game or something.
Yeah, because then it's like,
Oh, and
are you fucking up like
and it's a walk, and the walk's the winning run in for the World Series. Like,
yeah.
imagine that.
Yeah, seriously. Or
Imagine that.
do you have a guy who comes set, like Max Scherzer is a good example. He's a guy who likes to do long holds on the mound. So what if he gets the sign from the set position, comes set, sits there and fucking holds it? Hold, and then what do they call a balk, or do they? I don't know. It's a weird one. Again, we don't know how it's going to be enforced, but it is what it is. They agreed on it. The next one they agreed on, Jared, the one that we can brush over super quick, universal DH. I think everybody agrees we should have had this a long fucking time ago, because it's cool to watch pitchers hit, and yeah, some guys can hit the ball, but it's such a waste of fucking time in the National League to watch a pitcher come up and lay a fucking bunt down, or miss a bunt, or strike out on 3 pitches. It's just like, just give me a new fucking, and it's going to bring 15 jobs to 15 teams that previously didn't have a DH. The Padres, like, as an example, like, they might sign Nelson Cruz now, because who cares? He's 40 years old. Guy can still hit. I think it's probably going to be a liability in the outfield, but who gives a shit? He's going to hit. He's a hitter only. He's a DH.
Yeah, I like that too. I mean, fuck the, like, I hate watching pitchers hit. I mean, it's fun with DeGrom's hitting, but like every once in a while, like something like that, where a pitcher hits a home run, it's like, whoa, how cool. Well, you know what? Guess what's gonna happen is like you're gonna get a guy that's gonna hit fucking 35 jacks, or a guy like Miguel Sano who's he's gonna be 375 pounds within the next 5 years.
Yeah.
He's not gonna be able to move, and all he's gonna be able to do is just hit home runs out of the stadium. Like you keep those guys around, you give X amount of guys more jobs, like you said. Yeah, love that. Don't want to watch pitchers hit. Don't want to watch bunts.
Yep.
I mean, it's fine. I actually don't mind watching bunts if it's a good small ball, but like let somebody that's a good bunter get it down.
Yep.
And some of the pitchers obviously get it down, but it's like, well, nobody really wants to watch that. In the modern game, people want to watch jacks and everyone hit. Nobody wants, like, there's nothing worse than watching a game and you go, you have your starter, and it's like, well, I have to decide if I want Max Scherzer to throw the 6th inning. He's at 85 pitches, or if he should hit and just ruin this inning because we have the bases cocked right now.
Yep, I agree. So,
and that's old school. There's some old school about it that you kind of enjoy the strategy behind it, but I think just in terms for the modern game and the way that the world's kind of going towards the instant gratification of entertainment, love the DHs.
Yeah, love the DH. I don't mind that strategy in the National League, right? Where like it gets in the postseason or it gets whatever, and you're like, oh, I got to pinch hit for this guy, or double switches. I don't mind that because it's still cool sometimes, but not really. Just keep the DH in there. Let's just hit jacks. So cool with that. And then these last two are probably the most, in my opinion, the most contentious. And this first of the last two being that it sounds like the players and the owners are okay with adding a sponsorship patch on the jersey of the major league teams. It's going to be weird to see at first, but I think a great example to reflect off of is the NBA. And
it's not that big of a deal.
It's not that big of a deal
in a weird way. Right? It's like I don't love it, but it's like, will I get over it? Does it make them more money? Does it bring exposure to brands that want exposure that are willing to pay that much? Yeah. But 100%, like, there is something to be said about a uniform that doesn't have fucking sponsors on it.
I agree.
Being able to enjoy the game and not being sold something while you're watching a pitcher.
I agree.
But
the fans, well, and the players to an extent, everybody in baseball is in some way or another a little bit of a purist, right? You don't want to turn on Yankees Red Sox and watch Aaron Judge now batting, and he's got a crypto.com patch on his New York Yankees jersey, right? Because it does feel a little bit weird. Like you mentioned, there's something to be said about a nice clean pinstripe New York Yankees jersey on with no last name on the back, just number 99. Like, that's cool to see. But at the end of the day, if it makes more money for the owners will always do it. Always. They will always do it.
100%.
They will, if, an extra 100 million this year to put a fucking, to put a Hulu patch on my Miami Marlins jersey, I don't give a fuck. Like, what does that matter to me? And it doesn't matter for the teams like the Marlins or the Padres or these young, maybe not as major big market franchises, but honestly, it'll look weird, I think, at first for the New York Yankees to have a patch or the LA Dodgers to have a patch on their jersey. It'll look a little bit weird. Don't get me wrong. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. We can't control it. And I don't mind it. It doesn't affect the game literally at all. It's just a matter of if it's making more money for the fucking owners, then the owners should be like, okay, we're making more money. Let's pay these guys more. But whatever. It is what it is. Maybe they'll do a revenue share with the fucking patch money they make. I don't fucking know. Not my decision. Doesn't change how the game is played, so it's not a big deal.
Yeah, 100%.
And lastly, Jared, last on this list, and something that I am very passionate about, is the point they've agreed upon, supposedly, between the players and the owners, is banning the shift. I'll let Jared go first on this, and then I will unleash the hellstorm that I have to say about this.
I actually don't know what your stance is on this.
You go ahead first, Jared, and then I'll go with it.
I think there should be parameters to the shift where like you can shift to an extent. I fucking don't love, like, I get it. It's just such like a computery AI way to approach things, right? And I get it. Like what they say is, fuck, we'll learn to go the other way. But sometimes if you're talking about a guy that's like a dead pull hitter and like he's just pissing on fucking missiles that would normally be, singles that you like, he's a dead pull guy. That is kind of annoying, and I think it all comes back to them. They want more offense, but I mean they want more hits. So I actually don't love like overshifted infields when like the analytics have gotten so good that you're gonna get a guy out fucking 90% of the time, and he's gonna hit 196 because balls are getting laced, but there's everybody on that side of the field. I just like kind of like the traditional positions of baseball, and I think that you should obviously still allow shifts, but there should be like I don't know how you would mark it, little marks on the field or whatever, where like, okay, like that's as far as you can shift. You can't, if you're the shortstop, you can't actually go on the second base side.
Sure.
Something like that, where they can't completely ban it, but they can at least kind of limit what you can do. That way, kind of like I said, it's just it's become so analytical, and you have so much data on these players playing 160 games and getting 500 at bats that okay, he's hit 80% of his balls right here in this little gap. Let's load everybody up over there. And we know that, like, on top of it being difficult to hit already, we know we can get him out because of his tendencies. I totally get the old school side that's like the fucking hard ass side that's like, well, learn how to hit the ball the other way. Right. Damn it. And you don't know how to do anything. But it's like at the same time, just for the offensive side. And like, I just think, yeah, like I said, I'll let you get after it, but I think just having parameters set where like, okay, like you can't replace a guy on that side of the infield. It's almost like being offsides in hockey. You can't just have a guy go flying down next to the net.
Sure.
And in a way, that's like one of the only comparisons I can think of in the sport. Is like you can't just have a guy sitting down there, and that's like what the shift is. You can't have your defense over here. But I don't know. That's kind of where I sit with it, and I've obviously thought about it too, and that's what my conclusion is. I don't think that like a complete ban, because that'd be stupid, because then a shortstop can't play in on a bunt, or like where do you draw the line? So
sure,
little wishy washy there, but I think some markers on the field.
Sure.
I think the biggest thing for me would be middle infielders or like third baseman coming all the way across. I don't think you should be able to change your side of the infield.
Sure.
But that's kind of what my thoughts are on it.
So
let's hear it.
I hear the arguments you're making. They make a lot of sense. And in the grand scheme of things, There's certainly different ways you can go about it, where you could even, if you don't want to have to put, markers or anything like that, make it where infielders can go wherever they want, but they have to stay on the dirt of the infield, right? That's a fair assessment. Or you can't have 4 guys in the outfield grass when the pitch is delivered. Or you can't have 4 guys on one side of the infield. I hear those. I think they make relative sense if you wanted to ban the shift. But the fundamental thought process behind the shift is to gain a competitive advantage against the offense. And they want more offense, so they don't love the defense gaining that competitive advantage. They don't love 3 guys on the right side of the infield and 4 outfielders against Joey Gallo, because all he does is pull the ball. I see that, and it makes sense. But the reason they started shifting is because they started to pick up on tendencies, and lining up traditionally, Joey Gallo would ground a ball to the right side and it would find a hole. Or he'd hit a line drive to that spot in the outfield and it would land for a base hit every fucking time. Every time. So they made an adjustment in order to eliminate that from happening. So the adjustment has been made by the defense. In my opinion, it's now time for the offensive players to begin making their adjustments to avoid the shift and allow themselves to take at-bats where they don't have to ban the shift, but the players can hit with traditional guys lined up. How do they do that? If Joey Gallo comes to the plate with nobody on the left side of the infield, 0 players, and he swings and pops up to an outfielder or grounds out to the right side, I feel absolutely 0 empathy for Joey Gallo. 0. Because the simple answer is just bunt the ball. Now, bunting is actually a lot harder than people think. It is, and I agree with that argument. It's not easy to take a 99-mile-an-hour fastball in on your hands and bunt it anywhere, let alone directionally point the bat and bunt it down the third baseline. The problem is, by banning the shift, we are rewarding hitters who have bad hitting tendencies of pulling the ball by allowing them to get more hits on the pull side. We are rewarding Joey Gallo for being an undisciplined, pull-happy hitter. We're rewarding that. And I do not think that should be rewarded. And let me ask you a question, Jared, as a counter-argument for banning the shift, which I do not think they should ban or even limit at any point. Was Tony Gwynn ever shifted in his career? Yes or no?
I probably assume not, because he hit the ball all over the damn field.
There's your answer. There's your answer right there. And I'm not saying it's easy to hit the ball the other way. I'm not. And listen, if the team defensively lines up all on the right side of the field, guess where the pitcher's going to throw the ball? Soft away or hard in, because that forces Joey Gallo to pull the ball, right? A hard fastball in. What the fuck's he going to do with that? Is he going to just shoot it the other way through the hole? Of course not. It's 99 miles an hour under his hands. But there's a video that I just saw on Twitter not too long, like earlier today, of this past season. Joey Gallo on the New York Yankees with a runner on third, 1 out in the 9th inning, and the Yankees are down by 3 runs. So they're losing 4-1. There's a runner on third base, and Joey Gallo comes up, and they have 3 infielders on the right side and 4 outfielders. And what does Joey Gallo do against Andrew Kittredge on the Rays? He gets a 96-mile-an-hour fastball inside corner. As the pitcher lifts his leg, turns, squares his body up, holds the bat out, and just bunts a really hard ball straight out where the third baseman would have played. Of course, if the defense is lined up traditionally, he's out. But he bunts the ball, drives in the run from third base, gets to first safely on a base hit, and drives the run in, and now makes it a 2-run game. And if the next guy comes up, Gio Urshela or whoever it is in the Yankees, and he hits a home run, the game is tied because Joey Gallo is on first base. So if you want to ban the shift as a hitter, here's how you ban the shift. Hit the ball the other way more consistently. Not every time, but more consistently. And if you're really worried about the shift, and you show up in a Friday series and you're Joey Gallo against the Tampa Bay Rays and they're shifting you like crazy, bunt the ball on your first at bat down the third baseline, base hit. Okay, the Rays can live with that. That's one hit. Come up your next time, they're shifted again. Guess what you do, Joey Gallo? You bunt the ball down the third baseline. If you get 3 bunt base hits in one game, guess what they're going to be doing on their fourth at bat? They're going to be lined up traditionally. Then you take your hacks. Then you can absolutely fucking yank hook an outside pitch to right field, and it'll fall in for a base hit. But you have to be able to display the abilities to take the ball the other way so that the defense can line up proportionally to where you actually hit the ball. Tony Gwynn was an exceptional hitter, hit the ball the other way, never got shifted. Then guess what? When Tony Gwynn got out in front, rolled the ball over to the right side, it found the hole because he earned that hole by being a good hitter and being able to hit the ball the other way. So I do not like rewarding pull-happy guys who try to yank everything and lack an actual hitting approach because we want more offense or because they think it's better for the game. Mike Trout doesn't get shifted. Fernando Tatis Jr. doesn't get shifted. Juan Soto, one of the best hitters, if not maybe the best pure hitter in the game, does not get shifted. Why does Juan Soto not get shifted, Jared? Because he hits piss rockets into the left field seats. He hits lasers down the left field line in the left center gap because he is a good, pure hitter with a good approach, and he's ready for outside pitches to be taken the other way. Fuck, even inside pitches. You see him shoot balls the other way all the time. And he's a good, pure hitter, and he doesn't get shifted. And if he did get shifted, he would say, this is laughable. And he would wait for that pitch, in or out, and make a conscious decision to hit the ball the other way. And so if you bunt, if you're not able to take the ball the other way as a hitter, that's not on us as a defense. That's my opinion. It's not on me as the Tampa Bay Rays defense to be like, well, he can't hit the ball the other way, but we have to let him. Bullshit, dude. Bullshit. If they want to put 9 guys in right field, they should be able to do it because then that opens up a world of possibilities for Joey Gallo to hit the ball all over the field. But when they line up traditionally, you're rewarding him for being a pull-happy, lack discipline hitter and just yank balls to right field. I think that's bullshit, and I don't think it should be allowed. If you want to limit the shifts, I'm more okay with that. Limit to 5 per game, 10 per game, something like that, where they can line up wherever they want. But that's not going to do anything because there's still tons of guys in the line. Like the Padres is a great example. They're not going to shift on Tatis. They're not going to shift on Machado. They're not going to shift on Jake Cronenworth. They're not going to shift on Trent Grisham. But they'll shift on Eric Hosmer. So if you limit it to 5 per game, well, all 4 of Eric Hosmer's at-bats, they'll be shifted, and then the game won't change at all. So banning it completely is not the answer because you're rewarding shitty hitters, and limiting it to a certain number is also not the answer. I think the answer is learn to play baseball and hit the ball the other way. Much easier said than done. Much easier said than done to take a 99-mile-an-hour fastball down and away and shoot it to left field. Of course it's impossible. But guess what, Jared? Work on it. Work on it. If you're a hitter, line up the tee outside, set up the jugs machine. These guys have limitless resources at their fingertips. Get in the cage, or if you're taking live at-bats and you're Joey Gallo facing Garrett Cole. Garrett Cole's trying to get his first bullpen of the spring in, and he's only working on fastballs. Okay, Garrett Cole, when you throw your 10 straight outside fastballs, I'm going to step in the box. They're going to be 97 miles an hour, and I'm going to learn to take the ball the other way and not snap hook, yank a ball, and try to hit it into the fucking bleachers. Because if they want more offense, they should be keeping the shift and promoting guys to hit the ball all over the field instead of just hoping for a home run and instead having it be Joey Gallo, 3 true outcome guy. Home run, walk, strikeout. Or a line drive to the right side, bait ground ball to the right side. You want more offense, promote guys like Juan Soto and Ronald Acuna, and don't promote guys like Joey Gallo and Eric Hosmer. That's my take on it.
I agree. I think if you want to do, like I said, if you want to do anything with it, then if you want to do anything with it, it's got to be, you can't just ban it. It's got to be just a limitation where I don't know exactly how that's structured, but I see what you're saying. Like, learn how to hit it. I just would hate to watch baseball turn into, like, guy. I like you really can. You could teach the defense that they need to be honest with you as a hitter, but it's tough to do when these guys have gone their whole careers without crazy amounts of analytics. You know, like they grew up and they learned how to be pull hitters because there wasn't a sabermetrics or analytics guy telling the other teams that there's going to be defenders. So they found their success learning baseball one way. So it's kind of like hard where you'd basically be changing the generation of hitters, like where a guy like Gallo might not have the same opportunity, even though he's a crazy talented baseball player that is you'd be changing the opportunities for him because a scout might look at him and be like, oh, well, all he can do is pull the ball. Which I don't know. Maybe it would be good for the sport. I just think limitations. I understand where you're coming from, but I think limitations on how far they can come over, or like, you know, I don't know about number of times. I don't like number of times. I just think like there should be like no shift zone.
Yeah.
I absolutely fucking hate watching a base hit up the middle getting stolen. That's annoying.
And
That's
I
good hitting.
agree with that. I agree with
It's
that
not just pull,
100%.
but there's missiles. I watched DJ LeMahieu hit missiles up the middle, and you're like, oh, you watch it
on contact
flying back over the pitcher's head. It's a beautiful swing. That's good hitting, and that shit gets robbed all the time.
I agree.
So like that's what I'm saying. Maybe just no shift zones. I guess I don't know. I don't know how you really police that, and the only way that you could possibly do it is kind of like guess and check.
Yeah.
And see and kind of just see, hey,
what's stopping
what did this do for the game?
If you don't want to get up the middle, I actually totally understand that argument, and that makes a lot of sense because, like we said, what do they teach you as a hitter growing up your entire life? Hit the ball hard, back up the middle. Hit the ball hard, back up the middle. Hit the ball hard, back up the middle. And then you do it, and you don't get rewarded. I understand that completely, but what's going to stop the shortstop? Okay, if the shortstop can't be on the right side of the infield, he can't be on the right side of second base, to line up just on the left side, and then right when the ball's crossing the plate, he just starts sprinting to the right side of the base. You know what I mean? And getting almost a jump on where he thinks the ball's going to go anyways. So it's hard to police. I think it's hard overall as a topic to debate. I am not a fan of banning the shift by any means, even a little bit, even limiting it. But I also understand where the other side's coming from, and I think that's important to note. I'm not losing my fucking mind over here saying anybody who disagrees with me is wrong, because I can understand that they want to promote offense and they want to promote balls in play, action, runs, and that type of stuff. But I think the longer solution to that is teaching and promoting guys that are better pure hitters than instead of rewarding guys that are yank happy and just pull the ball all over the place. I think that's the solution, is to fucking teach and make adjustments and not to just simply ban it. And I think pitchers are probably going to start to catch on to that a little bit more than they think. They might be cool with it now, but you're not going to love when you're Max Scherzer pitching against the Yankees and Joey Gallo is 3 for 3 with 3 yanked outside changeups rolled through the hole for a base hit, when normally those would be outs with the shift. So that's kind of where I stand on that. Again, nothing we can do about it, but that's what they've agreed upon. So we'll see if they enforce it. We'll see if they even come to a fucking agreement and the bigger things, because that's much more important than these smaller things. But I think the banning the shift might impact the game bigger than we think. So it's an interesting talking point. I'm obviously
see what they do. We'll see what they do with it.
Yeah, we'll see what they do.
I would be interested to see. I mean, I definitely, you have to be able to see it from both sides.
I agree.
100%.
I agree.
Yeah. So if we're able to watch it, like, if they do something this year, I'll be interested to see how they police it, or so it'll be definitely some interesting times with baseball, because there's huge changes coming.
Huge changes. Huge.
Everything from fucking potential shift bans to bigger bases to robo umps. I mean, there's all sorts of crazy shit. And like
jersey patch.
I do agree with you on the purest point of like, I don't love completely getting away from the traditional game just to try to sell tickets, because that seems kind of fucking cheesy.
It is super cheesy, and that's where I stand on that. A lot of that stuff doesn't change the traditional game, but banning the shift, I mean, and I think one of the arguments is like Ted Williams was shifted a lot in his career, and he still racked up a ton of hits because he had great back control and hit the ball the other way and learned how to hit and found success. So the last thing we wanted to touch on before we let you guys go is we just want to make sure that everybody understands that being former college baseball players playing in the great state of Colorado, and having that conversation with Lucas Gilbreth last week about how it's different and how the ball travels more and pitching is different, things of that nature, and how it's a little bit of a different game in Colorado. Nobody's arguing that. That's why Coors Field gets the rep that it does from the baseball community about how if a guy puts up big offensive numbers in Colorado or on the Rockies, it's not held to the same weight as maybe some of the other guys in the league. And understandably, like we said, because Coors Field can be very hitter friendly. But what we need to address, Jared, is the stigma that Coors Field is the only egregiously hitter friendly park in the big leagues.
Yeah, that's just false. And people bring that up. What's fucked up is people bring that up more than they bring up that fact that Yankee Stadium is literally a little league field.
So looking at the home runs per stadium, I guess, last season. Who would you guess is the number one team? Which ballpark gave up the most home runs last year in the major leagues?
I feel like it would have to be Yankee Stadium. It's
So
like every game I watched there.
So Yankee Stadium is actually number 12 on the list of most home runs last season. Yes.
I could see it being, is it Camden Yards?
Baltimore?
Yeah.
Baltimore is number 2 on the list of home runs.
Oh, see, that's the shoebox too.
So 2 of the top 6 parks as far as home runs allowed, and I know also this plays into the offensive output for the teams, right? Because number 4 on this list for home runs hit in ballparks last year was the Chicago White Sox, guaranteed rate field. And then that starts to make a little bit more sense because you look through their fucking lineup: Tim Anderson, Yasmani Grandal, Jose Abreu, Eloy Jimenez, Luis Robert. Like, holy shit, they just mash, right? They mash home runs nonstop. So that part makes sense to an extent. But Coors Field was 5th on this list, 5th in home runs. It went Cincinnati, number 1.
Cincy's tiny too.
Baltimore, 2. Dodger Stadium, number 3. Dodger Stadium is a shoebox. It's tiny. Nobody talks about it. Nobody wants to talk about it because it's in Southern California. The ball doesn't travel. Blah, blah, blah. I don't give a fuck. Dodger Stadium is tiny. And home runs go out of that joint a lot more than people think. Yes, they have a bunch of boppers too. Of course. Muncy, Bellinger, Seager, AJ Pollock, all these boppers, right? The guys hit a ton of home runs. Okay, I get it. The Blue Jays are number 6. So in the top 6, 2 of the top 6, Jared, are in the American League East. 2 of the top 6 are in the American League East. Orioles at 2, Rogers Center for the Blue Jays at 6. We need to start talking a little bit more about other ballparks being just as hitter friendly as Coors Field. And this is from Baseball Savant, which is an MLB.com sort of, I guess it's just a statistical portion of their website. And Park Factor is the main stat that these stadiums are ranked at. Park Factor definition for MLB: ballpark factor is a great way of determining which stadiums are more beneficial for hitters. Ballpark factor, at its most basic, takes the runs scored by the team and its competitors and divides the figure by runs scored to teams and its competitors in road games. For example, in 2018, 849 runs were scored at Coors Field and 676 runs were scored when the Rockies were playing away games. So the park factor made it the highest of anybody, basically. It's a great way of determining the extent to which a stadium favors hitters or pitchers. It isn't affected by the teams or players involved because those teams and players are also playing games in other stadiums. Okay, fair enough, right? Makes a lot of sense. Park factor rankings, Coors Field is number 1. Fenway Park is number 2 in terms of favoring hitters. So now you have Baltimore having the second most home runs, Toronto having the 6th most home runs, the Red Sox ballpark being number 2 in park factor. The American League East is a hitter-friendly division. There's no other way to put it. The American League East favors hitters. I don't know what else to say. And that needs to be talked about, I think, a lot more than it does. That's my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think like the only thing that, I mean, obviously I don't know what the elevation up there is, or like up in
Boston
Rogers Center. What's that?
Oh yeah, I don't know. I just think
Center elevation. Let's see.
The American League East is a hitter-friendly division, and that needs to be talked about a lot more than it's talked about right now. You got the Reds at 3 for park factor, Orioles at 4 for park factor, and that's a big reason why, by the way, I'm sure you heard, but the Orioles at Camden Yards are pushing their left field fence back like a shit ton, like 30 or 40 feet. So they're trying to compensate for that, but then that might just allow for more doubles. I don't know. I don't know, but
I don't know. I definitely know that, like, yeah, I feel like every time I watch a game, I mean, pesky pole is 11 feet down the line. Like, you know what I mean?
Wrigley Field is
Yankees entire field is just an absolute shoebox.
Correct.
And that really pisses me off that it's like what, 310? Is it 310 down 313?
The Yankees is 310 down both lines. 310.
Yeah, that's like just to think about all those big lefties they have. I mean, it doesn't matter. All the big righties too. The whole team is huge. You know what I mean? They got this monstrous team of grown ass men, and it's like, how many of these balls are fly balls that get caught at other fields?
A ton.
Because yeah, crush. If you hit a ball, go further. But the thing about Yankee Stadium is you can miss a ball more and hit it out.
Correct.
You could pop one up. That like wouldn't have enough some umph to get out. You could pop one up like that wouldn't get out of Coors Field. That would get out of Yankee Stadium.
Correct.
Regardless of elevation. Because you can not backspin it, not get behind the ball at all, and it could just go straight up in the air, and the guy would literally catch it. Think about what 45, I think it's 355, the lines at Coors Field. Think about what 45 feet looks like if a guy's 45 feet of wall in front of the wall catching a ball. It looks like a can of corn. He takes a couple steps back, and the crowd goes, oh,
and then
for
it's
a
caught.
second, and then they go, oh, yeah, it gets caught. Just think about how, and it doesn't even look that close. So think about just being able to hit one of those fly balls, and the fucking announcers just back. It's like, come on.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. The Yankees pissed me off the most probably for it, because people just love talking about, like, I think it was a couple years ago. It was like them and the Twins were like in a race to hit the most home runs ever in a season.
Yep.
I think it was a couple years ago, and it was like nobody was talking about the fact that you have grown ass professional athletes hitting a ball fucking 50 feet further than a little league field.
Aaron Judge.
What are the Little League World Series fences?
210. 210.
210. Yeah. You know what I mean? Why are they 100 feet? So you have fucking Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge has to hit a ball basically where the first base coach is standing, further than a fucking 64-pound fucking little leaguer that's never even seen a weight to hit a home run. How does that fucking make sense?
It doesn't. And the best example I have for the Yankees here, Jared, is a guy like DJ LeMahieu. You mentioned DJ LeMahieu earlier for the hitting. He played 7 years on the Rockies, and his career high for home runs was the last season he was with the Rockies. He hit 15 home runs for the Rockies in 2018. 15. It's a pretty big number for DJ LeMahieu, right? I mean, it's not bad. 15 home runs for a guy who slaps the ball over the yard, good back control, sprays the ball to right field. By the way, to quickly hammer this point home, does DJ LeMahieu ever get shifted, Jared? No, he doesn't, because he hits the ball the other way.
He gets shifted up the middle. I've seen him get fucking robbed up the middle.
Well, and that's fair, but then he'll find a way to shoot it the other way. I promise you, because he's a good back control guy.
He's a terrific hitter.
So he hits 15 home runs in 2018 with the Rockies and signs with the New York Yankees. He played about 20 more games, so we'll give him that. But he went from 15 home runs in his first year on the Yankees. DJ LeMahieu hit 26 home runs. DJ LeMahieu, whose career high before that was 15. Let me read off his full seasons for you, Jared, as far as home runs go before that. 2, 5, 6, 11, 8, 15. And his first year on the Yankees, he hits 26 home runs. That's not a coincidence. That is DJ LeMahieu playing at Yankee Stadium, subconsciously knowing in his brain, like you said, that he could clip a ball in the air to right field, backspin it, and it'll find the first row. And it's a home run. So the bottom line is, man, I'm not defending Coors Field because I am right there with everybody else where I think it's definitely hitter friendly. And if you can be a good pitcher at Coors Field, you will dominate everywhere else by a lot. But these other ballparks need to be tossed into this conversation of these parks favor hitters. Cincinnati, Baltimore, Boston, New York, Toronto, Philadelphia, dude. Oh my God. Philadelphia's top 7 in park factor. And in home runs, Philadelphia's top 7 again. They had the 7th most home runs last year, and they're top 7 in park factor. Why does no one talk about the Phillies? Why does no one talk about that? Nobody. I have not heard one fucking person. This is no disrespect to Ryan Howard. Unbelievable guy. Hit 50 home runs. Amazing big bopper hitter. Okay. 50 home runs. It's a big year. Would he have hit 50 home runs at Petco Park, Jared? Would he have hit 50 home runs in Detroit? In Pittsburgh? In San Francisco? Fuck no. Fuck no, dude. There's no chance. They need to talk about that more often. And so when guys have monster years on the Giants, guys hit 30 home run, Buster Posey, and these guys, fucking good on them. They should get more credit. Yeah. That should be tossed into the MVP voting and shit. Like Buster Posey, I'm just saying, hypothetical situation, Buster, or let's just say Brandon Crawford next year goes off, hits 315, and he hits 35 home runs in the National League. And then Bryce Harper on the Phillies hits 310 and hits 42 home runs. And they both have RBIs are comparable. Bryce Harper is going to get the nod over Brandon Crawford for MVP. Why? Because he hit more home runs. Why did he hit more home runs? Because he played in Philly. That's literally the only reason. And I think that should be talked about way more.
Yeah, and we talked about that a little bit with that a little bit with how that makes Barry Bonds that much more impressive.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
They played in San Fran. And like, dude, Barry Bonds in the current Yankee Stadium.
Oh my God.
Barry Bonds in current Yankee Stadium would have hit 2,000 career home runs. I would love, there's got to be a fucking like some analytic thing out there.
His spray chart.
That says the spray chart that shows how many balls in Barry Bonds' career traveled over 310 feet.
Dude, the perfect example is the video. You ever seen the video? You've seen the video of Barry Bonds at the old Yankee Stadium, which, by the way, had the exact same dimensions as the new current Yankee Stadium. Barry Bonds is facing, I'm not sure, I think it was Ted Lilly, but it was a scrawny left-handed guy at Yankee Stadium, and he challenged Barry Bonds with a fastball up in the zone. Barry Bonds didn't hit this ball in the upper deck, Jared. He hit it 2/3 of the way up the upper deck. Barry Bonds at Yankee Stadium. That ball, granted, was out anywhere, and it's out anywhere, of course, and it's a 595-foot fucking home run. Like, of course, it's gone anywhere. But if, like you said, if he played at Yankee Stadium, again, we actually exaggerate quite a bit. He would have hit 85 home runs in that 73 home run season, no doubt in my mind.
Maybe more. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he played his whole career like he did. basically with, obviously the Pirates, but then he played in San Fran. But it's like if he played this entire career, was in the league for 22 years, 23
Sure.
years, something like that. Whatever. But if he played this entire career at that current Yankee Stadium, he would have been pushing 900 or maybe 1,000 home runs.
Easily.
That's what, 250 more than he had? How many fucking fly balls did Barry Bonds just miss that went 310
How many balls did he hit? How many balls did he hit in San Francisco to that right center gap? That's 421 feet. Right center. Hammered a ball. And it shoots off the bricks of the big tall wall in right field. And it's a double. It's a triple. Sure. Or if it's up in the air long enough, it's a fucking fly out. That ball is not only not a fly out, that ball is over the bullpen at Yankee Stadium. Over the bullpen. So, and the balls he hit into the bay in San Francisco, those balls are like literally in Times Square in Yankee Stadium. I don't know what else to say. It's unbelievable. Yeah. But.
Yep. No, but anyway. Fuck the AL East.
Yeah. No, just turn off fuck the Yankees, fuck the No, listen, it's harder, it's easier said than done to fucking talk about hitting a ball in the air 330 feet. I know it's not that far, but it's still impressive, right? To hit a ball that far off a major league pitcher. Don't get me wrong.
It's not easy. There's definitely don't want to take credit away from people for like squaring up pitches, but like when you get a cheapy
but that's not squared up in a lot of cases, and especially with a guy that's as strong as Aaron Judge, or guys that were big and strong. I don't know, man. I don't know how things would have looked, but it's all if, ands, and buts, and what ifs, and who knows, and speculation. But we can't control it. We can't control baseball when it comes back. And this is all we have to fucking talk about. Because these guys can't get a fucking deal done. More so than the owners, by the way. We want to make sure we're clear on which side we're on. It's the owners are selfish pricks. But there's nothing we can do here. So that's going to wrap up episode 13. Thank you guys for listening. We greatly appreciate it. Moral of the story, Jared, if you want to take anything away from this episode, just, if you're a pro athlete, just don't bet on sports. What the fuck are you doing? Don't bet on sports. If you're a hitter, hit the ball the other way. And if you do hit the ball the other way and you play at Yankee Stadium, you might hit a home run. That's the moral of the story. So if you're a professional if you're a professional athlete, here's what you do. You play baseball, you don't bet on sports, and you're right-handed and you hit fly balls to right field. That's it. And you would have, if everybody was like that, Jared, we wouldn't have anything to talk about in this episode. But thankfully, there are some dumb fucking idiots around here, and they bet on sports, and they think that Derek Jeter's walk-off home run in the 2001 World Series that went 319 feet to right field was a transcending, no doubt, perfect fucking home run to right field when fucking I could hit a home run at Yankee Stadium. I actually think, do you think you could hit a home run at Yankee Stadium, Jared? Batting practice? Like you're in the cage, you got spikes on, you got your body loose, wood bat.
Absolutely. I when we had our little alumni thing, I hit like 6 balls out in the BP. I hit my very first ball I hit this year went dead center there at Metro.
So, okay, well, let's preface. Jared's a big muscle guy. He's got a lot of muscles on his body, so he can muscle one.
Absolutely go yard there. Can I hit pitching out of there? Probably not. Maybe like a sophomore in high school throwing like fucking 74, leaves one flat.
Jared Rowley at the plate against Nestor Cortez on the Yankees, and you get 100 at bats. Get one out?
Probably not.
Nestor Cortez?
Well, maybe he throws. Maybe I catch I catch a fastball. I'm just guessing a little bit on a fastball.
Because all you got to do, Jared, is hit it up in the air to right field. To be quite honest with you, a 2-0 fastball outside corner, drop the barrel on it, let the 89-mile-an-hour fastball work, take it the other way.
Yeah. I don't know though. I'm not gonna try to fucking claim I'm hitting any bombs off any big league pitchers. But you see guys. I mean, fucking a. What's it? Who am I thinking of? Bartolo Colon hit a bomb in the big league. So
at Petco Park, by the way, that's a fucking jack.
So and Bartolo Colon's a freak athlete.
Yeah,
but I'm just
Yeah.
saying. Maybe I guess right, and I get the bat around on a fastball and square it up. Then yeah, potentially. But I'm not gonna claim that I'm hitting bombs off anyone.
Yeah. I
So
mean,
I
you don't.
probably realistically fucking strike out 74 times and fist fuck the other one's the shortstop.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, that's where your confidence level's at. My confidence level's different. I probably in 100 at bats, I'd probably finish with 25, 30 home runs off Nestor Cortez. Yankees just no,
I
but
think he's
I mean, dude, and again, if you said Garrett Cole, if you said these other guys, like 100 at bats against Garrett Cole, I am going 0 for 100 with 100 strikeouts on 300 pitches, just so everybody's clear. Like, in
I
all
think
seriousness, it's
you
all
could just
relative.
even if you knew it was just fastballs coming,
Oh,
he throws stuff. Oh man, but you can't even see it. Did somebody? Okay, so that's we'll say that for a different day. But that's one thing that fucking people do not understand when watching baseball because you see it on the TV and you see the pitch from behind and you're not up close. I was watching a video of uh, Chris Archer throwing some live BP or some like live at bats, and somebody actually got a good video that actually does fucking some type of justice to what a fastball actually looks like coming in. And it's just a blur. You can't see it. And I think on TV, like TV, it looks way easier than if you were to like walk up and just even watch a guy warming up.
But didn't we
Watch it warm me up.
Didn't we touch on it in the last episode? We talked about that video of Darvish throwing at that high school in San Diego.
Oh, and that slider.
No, not the one from behind. It was an upright video he posted like last week. If you guys haven't seen this fucking video, if you haven't seen this video of Darvish throwing, staying ready for the season, there's a video of him throwing a bullpen on a high school field, and he reaches back clearly for a little bit extra on this fastball. We do not exaggerate on the show. We never have. We never will. This fastball undoubtedly would have been clocked at 113 miles an hour. No doubt in my mind. It was a fucking bullet, Jared. He reached back, and it's a little extra because some guys grunt when they pitch. Most guys don't. Maybe they let out a little like air. They like whatever. Dude, he fucking reached back for this one and fucking ripped one. And when these guys spin the ball hard, you can just hear how fast it's going. It sounded like a 50 caliber bullet out of like into the glove. Bullet, dude. And that's where everybody listening has. We could never touch big league pitching. If anybody actually knew who we were and knew our sense of humor, we could never fucking touch big league pitching. So anyways, that's where we stand. Thank you guys for listening to episode 13. If you made it this far, don't forget to use code PhenomFan on SeatGeek to get $20 off your first order. PhenomFan, SeatGeek, $20 off. Pretty good deal, Jared. I don't know about you. I'd want $20 off. I mean,
you might as well.
You save the $20, you put it down in a parlay. It's pretty simple math.
Go to the game. And
the $20 you save, bet on the game you're going to.
Parlay, 10 picks minimum.
10 picks, lottery ticket, hit it, and actually split the $20. Put 10 on the same game parlay, put 10 in the 50-50 raffle, win both, and then you're rich.
Because you would.
Yeah, statistically it makes a lot of sense. You would probably win the raffle and the parlay. So thanks for listening, guys. Yeah, we appreciate the support. Check us out on our social media. We hope this deal gets done sooner rather than later. But if it doesn't, we got more topics we can talk about in the meantime. Hopefully we get an opening day sometime in April or May. Fuck, it's not looking good, but either way, we appreciate you guys tuning in. We'll catch you guys on episode 14 and be on the lookout for some new content, possibly new pods. Jared wants to get into some giving away these lottery ticket same game parlays. You guys better stay locked in because it's coming. It's coming.